Hey everyone, welcome back to HD Reddit Reads. Today's topic is, what was your haha I'm in danger moment? Let's get into it. So I was walking to my school and there's this little street with 2 lanes that leads onto the highway that you need to pass to get to my school. I usually wait till everybody has passed since no one respects the yield, but that day the guy in the right lane actually yielded, which was awesome. So I made my way across. Suddenly, as I passed through the right lane and entered the left lane, before my mind could even process anything, my body just straight up stopped moving. I was briefly confused before I felt 2 cars barely graze both of my front and back side. Apparently, the guy on the right started driving again as soon as I was out of his lane, and at that time, a guy behind him was being impatient and jumped to the left lane without stopping for me. So they both passed me at the same time while I survived by being frozen in a minor gap between the two. Honestly, my subconscious is the only reason I'm alive today. I was on a bouncy castle at a college ball, and my friend turned off the pump as a prank. My head was sealed in the deflating plastic and I was suffocating, kicking my legs wildly, trying to free myself. I had almost passed out when somebody noticed and pulled me out. When I was about 14, I chucked a teen angst tantrum and went for an angry walk in the bushland behind my house. Didn't tell anyone where I was going, just stormed out. It started raining pretty heavily after about 45 minutes, so I turned back to head home. But a bridge I had crossed had been washed away and the creek was rising very rapidly. I stupidly skidded down the embankment to see if I could cross, but I didn't realize that rain had made it too slippery for me to be able to climb back up. I vividly remember standing on a little patch of the rock thinking, haha, I might die. I didn't. I climbed back onto the rock ledge, waited out the storm, and managed to make my way back up the embankment and return to my different route. By that point, I had been gone for about 4 hours and had escaped death, only to be almost killed by my parents. When my intoxicated friend knocked over another guy's pint by accident, and then his drunken brain decided he could take on the guy was built like a brick shithouse, and his friends were all huge. They were the type of guys that don't take kindly to being challenged to a fight. We were 2 skinny 19-year-olds. Anyway, I bought Brick Shithouse Guy a replacement drink, and somehow talked him and his mates down from flattening the pair of us. Then drugged my idiot friend out of the pub and got him home. Some people should moderate their drinking. By the way, the rule is, you spill another man's pint, you immediately apologize and buy the next round. I actually saw the guy again a few days later, small town, and he was cool about it. A couple of days ago, I was working up a tree, arborist, and the tree in question was a black locust that was dying at the top. However, the base looked fine. I set about slowly dismantling the tree, which was an awkward task because I couldn't get as high up onto the tree as I wanted to due to the decay, and it was growing over a building, so I couldn't just let the bits fall free. After an hour or so of working, I heard a snap about a meter above me, and I was about 13 meters up into the crown. I looked up to see a long branch above me that was growing into the crown of another tree had snapped. I realized instantly that this meant that the base of the tree I was in had failed, and I was going to go down with it if I didn't get out. Before I could even react, the tree was free-falling down towards the outbuilding that I had been working so hard to avoid. Time slowed down and I could see my colleagues standing in the woodland watching me with the pure fear on their faces. After that, it's hard to put my thoughts into words, but I remember looking down at where the tree was going and to land and thinking that it was weird because this second I am completely lucid, but a second from not I will be probably unconscious, possibly never to regain consciousness. Again, I didn't feel any panic, just a knowing that I'm in extreme danger. All I could do was grab the nearest branch and plant my feet on another one and hope to God I didn't end up under any part of the tree. After what seemed like forever, the tree came down onto the roof of the outbuilding. I had probably traveled 10 meters vertically and about the same laterally. The large limbs of the tree were previously to my right, but now they were above me. Didn't snap and crush me like I was sure they would. I managed to hold onto the branch and stayed roughly in the middle of the tree. I was free from injury other than a twisted ankle and a twinge in my wrist from holding on tight as the tree smashed down. I didn't know how I didn't get seriously effed up by that tree, and I don't know why it failed on me, but I will never forget the knowing that I'm in danger, falling with tons of wood, and there's nothing I can do about it. My 3rd year fighting forest fires. I was upgraded to pump truck operator for a mop-up crew. After a section of the fire was deemed extinguished, they send in mop-up to make sure it's actually really out. I drove a giant pickup truck with a huge tank of soapy water and filled up portable water bags for the mop-up fighters. On the way back to base, I had a bit of water left when I saw plumes of white smoke. You're urged to extinguish all smoke because no one wants a dead fire to come back to life. There's a fallen tree next to a bunch of bushes and another half-fallen tree, and the half-fallen tree is spewing hot coals every couple seconds with a loud pop. Each pop of hot coals makes the other wood products take off. The fire was at risk of starting over again. Right here, lol. I had nothing but a piss ant bladder bag. I bounded down to the pump truck, grabbed a hose, ran it up, bounded down, turned the hose on, ran up, and began attacking the situation. As I'm chasing down the heat and fuel source, I realize I'm surrounded by flammable objects. Soon after, I'm surrounded by giant flames, alone. I was literally screaming and laughing as I hacked and sprayed away at the rising flames. I got it tamed down after soaking and chopping killed the main source. I also sprayed the F out of the branches so soapy water was dripping everywhere. I had just finished rolling the hose back up and was catching my breath when these Marines came running up the hill. They were sent to investigate the smoky mess I had been dealing with. Being high-fived by a Marine is a good feeling. Private pilot story. Just on a return flight with a few mates back to a local aerodrome, looked down at the rubber pedals and noticed the side of my shoes was basically starting to melt. First moment of realization that the engine was indeed on fire. Ha, I'm in danger. Going home from a party in a shared Uber with some friends. I mistook the street for another one and ended up further away from my apartment than I thought. I put on the GPS and of course, it makes you take some back alley. At one point, I see movement near a car and there's a guy looking at me. I pass him, try to call my friend because he was looking weird. By the way, I did the wrong number and someone got a voicemail from me sounding totally terrified and spitting nonsense. I walk faster and look back. He's ducking behind another car and clearly switched from his original place, and he has a small knife in his hand. I bolted from here, ran as fast as possible with adrenaline, and stopped after finding a busy street. But when I saw the knife, that's when I went, oh shit. Drunk in Amsterdam, wheeling around a guy in a wheelchair we met. We were like 18, the guy in the wheelchair 30-something. Well, we ended up all in a dark alley, and 5 tall sketchy dudes surrounded us, but I was too drunk and happy to realize it was a threat, and chatted happily with them. They started asking for money, and I was like, haha, no. All of a sudden, this queen of a woman stepped inside the circle and told the guys, F off, they're with me. Had a nice chat with her, and then we wheeled the guy in the wheelchair home. The next day I realized she saved our butts. When I was about 12, a friend from our local church drove me and his sons to go swimming at a creek near where we lived. I didn't know how to swim yet, but he assured me that I'd be fine since there wasn't much water and it could be a good learning experience. So far, pretty normal stuff. It gets weird though. The water was much deeper than expected, and he did nothing to help on several occasions where I almost drowned. I was supposed to stay at his house overnight, but I wasn't feeling very good after breathing in water a few times. Plus, something obviously didn't feel right. He was mumbling to himself while he put his shoes back on after swimming. Good thing I stayed home. Turns out he was off his medication. My family didn't know that he had previously killed a person during a hunting trip when he was in his early teens. The night I decided to go home, he went off the rails. He believed the world was going to end, and he tried to kill his entire family. When my family went to church that Saturday, we didn't see his family. The pastor told us what happened. They all had miraculously survived, but he was now in a lockup for serious issues. TLDR, almost drowned, almost killed, family friend was a murderer, and we didn't know it. I was on holiday and I left my motel to walk in Livingston Park in Zimbabwe. My friends had visited earlier in the day and wanted to stay by the pool, so I figured I'd walk over by myself, since it wasn't particularly a long trip. The easiest route from my hotel was following a small path between some bushes and trees. I'd walked down the path before, but this time there were families of baboons walking down the path and no other person. I cracked on anyway, figuring that as long as I wasn't waving food around or getting too close, I'd be fine. Apparently, I must have done the latter and unintentionally stepped too close to one of their young, because one of the full-grown adult baboons jumped out in front of me and started howling at me, baring its teeth. Because of the noise it was making, it attracted the attention of all the other baboons, and 2 other full-grown adults soon joined the first in howling and showing serious aggression, all of a couple of yards in front of me and to my side. I had no idea if there was more behind me, but my instinct in the situation was to hold up my hands and show empty palms, stand tall, broad, and start stepping backwards and away slowly. Thankfully it worked, and they eventually turned away and carried on, but for the short while my mind was having flashes of me being torn apart by 3 baboons. I later found out their bites can break human bones, so I'm pretty lucky that my instinct in the situation was the correct one. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.